irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They manufactured findings from shoddy sources. They suppressed evidence and credible intelligence that disproved their false claims.
Go, shoddy. It's your birthday. DNI Tulsi Gabbard taking to the White House podium, laying out what she's calling a treasonous conspiracy, claiming former President Barack Obama greenlit an intel probe into Trump back in 2016, but based it on bogus info, like the phony Steele dossier. Director Gabbard says she's sent criminal referrals to the DOJ and FBI, and yes, Barry O is on the list. She's also pushing back on the narrative that Russia was rooting for Trump to win, pointing to a declassified House intel report that claims Moscow had compromising info on Hillary's health. Watch.
This report shows Putin held back from leaking compromising material on Hillary Clinton prior to the election, instead planning to release it after the election to weaken what Moscow viewed as an inevitable Clinton presidency. There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers.
Wow. Yeah, John Podesta felt that on election night, huh? Former President Obama hitting back at the calls that he be criminally investigated, saying, quote, "Our office does not normally dignify the constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House with a response, but these claims are outrageous enough to merit one. Nothing in the document issued last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 presidential election, but did not successfully manipulate any votes," end quote. All right, so Jessica, some of the information that has been declassified is very compelling. Really? Now, the Obama statement is making it look like, well, these were just some Discord QAnon chats. But when you have the former director of the CIA pushing back against high-level operatives within his agency, saying there is no there there, and he's like, let's find a there. Isn't that problematic enough for Obama and at least some in that realm to worry about?
No. There's also video footage of Barack Obama himself saying it, saying that no machines were altered. They did not hack the infrastructure, but they tried to do an influence campaign, which we have all acknowledged. Sometimes I think, like, what day is it? What year is it?
Democrats?
What?
You said we've all acknowledged.
Well, Marco Rubio, I believe, is a Republican, and he's one of the more important ones. He has 85 roles in the administration, and he was the lead Republican who found that as well. This is such old news. It's beyond comprehension that we're talking about. And I understand that this Epstein situation is very tricky for the administration. And day by day, it gets worse and worse and worse. But they are pulling out all of the greatest hits to try to inflame the minds of their most, conspiracy theory addled base, so that they hear Brennan, Clapper, Obama, Hillary, and they get activated. And suddenly they won't be mad at Trump anymore for not releasing the Epstein files or whatever he had to do with any of it. It's preposterous that we were talking about Hillary Clinton's emails again in year 2025.
We spent years on this story. No, let me, we had to take this story seriously for years, and it was false.
It wasn't false.
No. For people to understand what happened, all right? Because the problem with this story is that nobody knows what you're talking about. When Trump won in 2016, the intel community concluded that Russia didn't have a hand in his victory. Instead of accepting the inclusion, Obama determined and wanted a new conclusion. So he sent Brennan running to come up with a new conclusion, that there was some kind of trivial involvement that then they could feed out to the media. And coincidentally, dozens of news organizations said that Trump was in bed with Putin and that somehow Brennan knew. Brennan knew. How did he know?
Why
there was
did
no
John
proof.
Durham
There
do
was no
nothing?
proof. There was no
Why
proof.
did Durham do nothing then?
But no, let me finish. They amplified a false conclusion that Trump colluded with Russia in 2016. We had to spend years dealing with that. And now we're actually getting investigation, and you're saying, no, you know what? You guys should just move on. You guys should just move. You're saying the same effing thing about Biden's brain. You guys spent 4 years telling us that Joe Biden was fine. You covered up for an invalid. And then when we get the truth, it's like, oh, you know what? It's time. We got to look forward. We got to start talking about what's there. And you can bring up Epstein all you want. We, unlike Democrats, we can handle 2 things, 3 things, 4 things at once.
Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, no. Have you been listening to the right lately? The right is more on top of Epstein than the Democrats are. The Democrats never cared about Epstein until they saw a political motivation. The right was into the Epstein story because women were being sex trafficked. We actually cared. But now you're like, ooh, Epstein, a political angle. Ooh, this is fantastic. Save me your selective outrage.
Well, I will, because we've got a Fox News alert. President Trump now addressing a major AI summit in Washington. Let's listen.
Up here, the brain power.
Woo!